HOT6 GSL. My conscience is telling me.
Welcome back, everybody, to the GSL Round of 16 Koda S Group D. We just had our first player get up to the winner's match and one down the loser's match. Gumio will be awaiting the winner of this match, which will be between Flash and INnoVation.
Now, I looked at a lot of information about Flash's stats. He's been in very few GSLs compared to some of these other players in this group, and he's fallen a lot in the round, or rather the Code A round, the Challenger round, and he has never gotten top 8. Never. This would be his first time. If he gets out of the group today, which a lot of people are favoring him to get out of this TvT group, if he wins today, it'll be his first top 8 in GSL, or in Korean StarCraft II Star League. He's only won one tournament as well. He won an IEM. Think about this guy has made like less than $20,000 in StarCraft II in tournament winnings. Think about that for a second, considering this guy was making a ton of money in StarCraft 1.
He was rolling in it, man, for sure. But he's made a gigantic name for himself. There's a reason we get this gigantically long shot of him in the booth. There's also a reason why the studio is more packed than I have ever seen it before for a round of 16 day. One reason is that it's Friday, of course. Another reason is that this player himself is here tonight.
You called it the Flash effect earlier, and I think it's a great way of describing it. But INnoVation, one of Flash's nemesis, defeated him in the round of 32, 2-0. Flash was still able to get out of the final match in the group. But I feel like the first time we ever saw Bogus play in the GSL, in like the very first WCS season in Heart of the Swarm, Flash beat him as well. It's one of these crazy, crazy rivalries that's been around since Bogus was Bogus. Now he's INnoVation, of course, is one of the more successful Terran players in the world. A lot of people would argue he is the most successful with his performances overall and tournament winnings. He's found a lot more success than Flash, and I do feel like, to a certain extent, these two players are rivals in the GSL.
Definitely in the GSL for sure. Flash looking for that revenge, kind of in the way that Gumio was looking for his own revenge over parting, which he did get. But, I mean, INnoVation versus Flash, I took a look at those VODs actually earlier on today, just to get a little bit of a refresher. Was very, very close up until, towards the ending parts of both of those games, where, just one or two small mistakes were taken advantage of by INnoVation to slowly win him that game. So, both these guys very, very strong in their TvT mech play. It was mech all the way for both of those games, mech on mech. And I wouldn't expect any different here tonight. It really just comes down to who is going to make less mistakes and who is going to take advantage of their opponent's small mistakes.
Well, let's take a look at these map bans. Really curious. Expedition Lost and Iron Fortress for Flash. Terraform, interesting choice. I guess some bad memories versus Biel perhaps on that map.
You're saying, I'll never play that map again. Ban it every time.
Bonnie Research Station, expecting perhaps Flash might switch it up with some drop harass biomat maybe on Bonnie. But we're going into Echo and Koda, two-player maps that are great for mech, and then Cactus Valley. If we go to Game 3, it could be a long series here.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very enjoyable. These guys are two of the best TvT meching Terrans in the world. And you guys are going to witness them going head-to-head once again tonight here in the round of 16 Group D. Flash was actually moved here by Stork, who was there at the qualifiers for Solar. And this is his fate now to go up against INnoVation once again. Let's jump into game number 1 now on Echo.
HOT6 GSL 시즌 3.
In the top left, in the red, one of our Terran players here, he is
KT로 스타 플래시.
so calm and collected, as he always is.
Indeed. His opponent to the bottom right, Flash's rivals in the GSL.
INnoVation.
INnoVation. I'd love to see a stat on how many times these two have actually met each other in GSL. I'd say probably at least 3 times, and that means like 3 times besides like the fact they're meeting each other twice in this season itself. I feel like I've seen them in several groups. There was a a group in Korea. It was called the BSL for a while. I think he was in the group with INnoVation, Flash, Life, and one of the strongest pro bosses in the world at the time. I can't remember which. It was in 2013, really early on. But anyway, that was one of those groups where I'm like, okay, INnoVation and Flash again. You know, they're always fighting each other, and I feel like to a certain extent, because of all the times they met each other, they are definitely rivals to a certain extent in this tournament. So we do see actually a much quicker gas here for INnoVation.
Well,
actually, I take it back.
ahead.
I was actually wrong. It already finished on the production tab that I didn't have open, so never mind.
This guy's going for very similar builds here. You know, slight difference in the gas time. I think just slightly faster for Flash, I believe.
JYP, see you at Koda Legacy of the Void. INnoVation Berlin support.
Ooh, that's really cool.
I think that sign about JYP is saying as if like he'll be a player in Koda, not they'll be casting it.
Maybe. As I was saying before in the beginning of today, it's really exciting as we get to the end of this year. I mean, it's almost certain we will be on Legacy of the Void for next year, just the way what things are going. And it's going to be a whole new playing field. And things are changing up drastically in that game.
I believe the cinematic and release date are going to be announced tomorrow in about 24 hours time. And
13th.
one of the coolest things about the campaign has always been the cinematic reveal. In Wings of Liberty, the first cinematic reveal we had was, looks like they met each other 3 times recently. Round 3, SKT Telecom Wars. Actually, like so many times playing each other. INnoVation 8 and 5.
Yeah, seems to win the majority of them. Flash won an MLG and then one of the earlier tournaments they played.
Probably like that one tournament I was talking about with like 2013 or something. But going back to what I was saying really quick to build this hype for Legacy, the first cinematic opening we had was the Sarah Kerrigan flashback from when Manx abandoned her back in like the Corpus sector or whatever. I don't remember exactly. Maybe Gettysburg, I think it was actually the place where she was abandoned. Then we had the Heart of the Swarm reveal with the cool Viking opening, the Vikings landing to fight the Ultralists, the destruction of the city, like all in Kerrigan's mind. And nobody knows what we're going to see tomorrow, but I am insanely hyped because I'm a big campaign fan. So
it's going to be really exciting.
In this game so far, we see similar openings. We didn't talk about them, you know, insanely in-depth, but you guys are looking at them at the same time we are. We're going to see a Reaper Scout pop in.
Bit of a mistake there from INnoVation going a little bit too far out, and Flash is going to be able to get a full scout of this base of INnoVation.
I can reasonably assume it's a Raven, I'd say, because you didn't see any cloak research. And Raven's really standard right now.
Yeah, I think we saw INnoVation go for Ravens in both of the games. When I was checking out the VODs, he loves to do this in TvT. He's remarked about it before in interviews as well, about how the air control is so important, especially early on in the early and mid-game in TvT, and even later on, of course. But
yeah, he said in an interview recently at Pro League when he was the MVP, he was like, the earlier you get the Raven is so important because you have more energy, and that gives you such an advantage.
And that's why we see him go for this build very, very often.
We're going to see Flash, who's continuing to pressure a little bit with these Hellions, go for a very greedy third CC. Flash is known for this, but he's even making it on the low ground at the third base location. So he's going to be able to get that saturation up insanely fast if he gets away with it. He's getting his own Raven. INnoVation going into delayed Banshees and his second factory, so no surprise there. And Flash with a follow-up scan just to confirm.
Yeah, this is one of the downsides, actually, when you do go for a Raven. You're not going to have a Banshee all the way on the other side of the map, getting you that map control, getting you the scouting needed in this early and mid-game. You know, and maybe Flash did identify this, and he's like, I can just get away with this. INnoVation never scouts at this point in the game. As long as I get just 4 Hellions out, I control the bottom of the ramp, make sure no SCVs are coming out, no units at all. I know he's going to go for a very late Banshee, and so I can just get away with this, and he is getting away with it here.
Yeah, and keep in mind, INnoVation has not even started the third CC, so if the longer he gets away with it, the worse and worse things are going to be for INnoVation. The scan here totally misses it. But you might be thinking, that third factory is a bit late. That's a bit strange. Yeah. He's actually going to push these Hellions off the map with this Banshee. See if he checks the third base location. That would be really smart and like next level of a scout, because there's no way he's expecting that Flash is actually playing this greedy.
Let's see where he does go with that Banshee. It looks like he wants to head towards the natural. Going to take a very roundabout route. Maybe he's just bringing it home, actually. Kind of interesting. Not even going to poke with that Banshee.
You know the robot effect we talk about with INnoVation all the time, for some reason he seems a bit not sure about what he wants to do next. I get a little bit of the vibe of that right now. You can see he moved out with a bunch of units and turned around. Then he had an SCB to make a third CC there for a long time, but it just wasn't even timed properly. He had like less than 100 minerals. It was just sitting there as if he just was not 100% sure about what the next move was to be. But Flash is mining from this base now for so long, having so many extra mules. He's getting his 5th and 6th gases insanely quickly. INnoVation is just not finding any pressure, and you're going to start to see that the supply lead for Flash jumps up quite a bit in the next few minutes as he has that better economy, those better gases. Here comes some pressure.
Yeah. It seems like going for this early of a third orbital on the low ground kind of puts you behind in the air control, and so he's just going to go into a bunch of Thors to remedy that effect. Just take control of the ground, but for now he's going to have to be careful over here.
Oh man, this Raven is in such a bad spot for Flash. He's just going to fly it into a disaster zone. He does get one Seeker missile launched, but it will be canceled. It looks like, no, barely not.
Just barely in range there, not running it out in time, and so this harass is going to have to stop here once these auto turrets do get cleaned up.
I'm actually shocked at how little damage that harass did. Flash was totally unprepared, and he just barely got the Thors over in time. And that's going to be something that INnoVation is very frustrated with. He no doubt clicked on those mineral patches. He was like, well, you've had this for a while. Now Flash is going to have +1 for his mech upgrades. First, he's going to have the plus damage to light units on the Blue Flame Hellions and Hellbats as well. He's just ahead slightly in every way, and INnoVation is going to try to catch up. He's even taking up 4th base here. It will be instantly canceled, though.
Yeah, good timing there out of INnoVation. He kind of just flies on by, though. Funnily enough, I think they were just on attack move and found this barracks, and now they're going to be like, oh, you're really taking up 4th base here.
Nice pick-off to kill that barracks at this stage in the game, because most likely Flash will add a few more factories. The rest of the game is actually adding another barracks now as a result. This is going to really struggle to find damage. There's a lot of Thors on the map, and also he's got turrets up. And INnoVation is just trying to find something, but Vikings can't really harass that well unless they're landed. Now he gets over here after he draws the army away. This is his moment to kill this 4th base.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that INnoVation isn't following up this play with his own sort of greed, because he's seeing Flash go for a very early 4th base, and there are 3 other command centers being made right now. Yeah. So INnoVation needs to identify this and either go for a big timing push against Flash, which is going to be hard because, as you mentioned, that 3rd base has been up for quite a while compared to INnoVation's, so he's not in a bad place in terms of his army as well. Or he's just going to have to follow it up with his own greed.
The decision-making here for Flash is quite smart, and INnoVation is just not keeping up. You know, it's like, whoa, he's got a 3rd base faster than me, and he has a 4th, and I'm just going to let it go? I'm just going to let that be there? If he had quickly reacted and landed his Vikings and targeted and flew away with those Hellions to harass, he could have killed it, but he didn't. And it's still being made. 3 extra orbitals, like you said, so 2 on top of this will be completed. He's making that 4th into a planetary currently. He's getting +2. Look, INnoVation's +1 finishes. Flash's +2 is about to finish. He's ahead in every way. Now, this is going to get to a slower sort of late game. It's not like Flash can win off of this sort of advantage right now, but I'm a bit surprised at how passively INnoVation has reacted to this.
And look at the positioning as well from Flash. He's saying, okay, I'm going to take control of the high ground outside of your natural and 3rd bases, so that getting a 4th base is going to be very, very hard for you. Moving out of this, little zone that I've set up for you is also going to be very hard. The spread of the tanks of Flash, we're seeing it with this really nice view, is insane. It's going to be so hard. There's even a sensor tower there.
Yeah, offensive sensor tower, so he's going to know if a Hellbat drop comes from a different angle. If Vikings and maybe a Banshee come from a different angle. Flash is actually adding the extra starports because he knows the one way he loses this game perhaps is if he loses air control, even though he's got Thors and maybe INnoVation pushes him down with Banshee, so he's going to start adding extra starports just to make sure there's no way he loses. Oh man, INnoVation taking some extra siege tank fire as well as he tries to go up his own destroyed cooling tower.
And you see that some SCVs are now mining from the 4th base. It looks like he wants to set up his 4th base to be taken here, but Flash already moving into position here, getting some Hellions in position to deny the SCVs. And all the while, some tank fire going down, but the Hellbat drop coming in, trying to get on top of these tanks.
Yeah, Hellbat's coming in from a pretty good angle, but there's a lot of Thor fire helping to protect those tanks. INnoVation does get a nice siege up position here below that CC, and all of those Vikings do survive.
Yeah, he does secure a 4th base, but as well, I guess it's going to be a bit hard to get more units over there. Maybe Flash runs some stuff towards the main as well. It does seem like INnoVation has a little squad in between his 2nd and 3rd bases as well, just defending for now.
Yeah, you know, if you're watching this and you're newer to StarCraft, or maybe you're just not as familiar with the TvT matchup, if you look at this, you might be going, Flash has had this 4th base for so long that why is he not further ahead? What's going on? Well, he actually used his gas bank earlier to actually make a ton of infrastructure. He's making 3 Ravens right now, Corvid reactor. He had all the extra starports faster. He's got faster plating. And something INnoVation is only just now starting to do is repairing those tanks. He needs to repair the Vikings as well. I'm not sure if he's doing that, but all those Vikings are deeply in the red. And even with a lesser Viking count, Flash could actually win a fight if he doesn't repair those. I'm going to actually check right now if he did. He's not. They're all still like at less than 20 hit points, all those Vikings from the Thor shots. Really like Flash's position in this game.
Looks like he wants to make a move possibly onto the Vikings here. He's going to get a slight lead.
Just look at how fast they died. They had no health.
Yeah.
No repairs.
And now he's getting on top of those medevacs. He's going to win this fight here as well. INnoVation is not grouping up his air units, and he's very fast losing that air control.
No turrets, nothing. He's got no protection for these tanks.
And look at Flash on the map. He's taken now a 5th base over here, a 6th base in the bottom left. He could also take the top right at this point. He's really close to getting control of that as well.
He's like, we're Brood War now. He's like, I've done this before.
Yeah.
We have to take a lot of bases in that game. Obviously, INnoVation and ex-Brood War Pro as well. Flash is the much more successful one of the two.
I think it's really cool that we're seeing this style kind of become the norm in TvT, because I think it's going to be here for a while now that Terrans have kind of figured out this mech style and how to actually make it work through the early, mid, and later game of StarCraft II. But as Flash practices more and more and gets better at a style, he begins to dominate, and we're already beginning to see it here against INnoVation, one of the best Terrans here.
And one of the best at mech as well.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad you bring this up, because right now in the meta, mech is used in 2 of 3 matchups for Terrans. Not only this matchup, but also the Terran versus Zerg matchup. So if you're constantly having mech on the mind for 2 different matchups, it becomes a stronger option in general. A few wasted medevacs here for very little damage. He's actually going to try to break this tank line. I can't believe it. He's going to walk into a wall. He's banging his head against a brick wall right now.
He's taking so much damage. He does get a decent position as well, but so many turrets left, a bunch of tanks left over as well.
Needs to drop some PDDs there, he does, to protect some of those units. I like the secret missile usage. He has so many more Ravens because of that extra gas bank he had from that faster 4th, and he's using it in these Ravens. He's taken out siege tanks.
Yeah. Well, INnoVation going to continue to move forward here. Flash is a bit spread out, as we mentioned before, trying to gain control of that entire ridge. But INnoVation just focusing his attack here on the left flank of Flash's tank line, and he is going to clear up a bunch of that and even gain the supply lead.
Yeah, he actually found the cracks in that sort of lineup there. He was able to come through at an angle where Flash did not have enough air control. His Thors were a little bit out of position. And once the tanks were gone, they couldn't protect the Thors anymore, so he lost that air battle. And INnoVation's control was also much better in that situation. So you can see he takes a supply lead. He's actually now boosting out a ton of Ravens. They both did get the Corvid reactor. So it's not about, you know, the 4 Ravens that come out with a lot of energy. That's what I'm basically trying to get out here.
Well, INnoVation was kind of over by his 5th base as he was taking that position on the ridge, but now Flash has identified this and he wants to go for the 4th base, but INnoVation coming in now with his Vikings. Bunch of seeker missiles going off. He has to split them.
Ooh, no splits whatsoever here, but the Thors are so late to the party that they're not able to finish anything off. And again, INnoVation takes a 20 supply lead. A lot of these units very, very low though for INnoVation, and Flash just has a huge bank, so if he loses units, it's much easier for him to replace them because he has so much money. He has right now, let me count them, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 gases mining and could get 14 in a moment. Is he a Zerg player right now?
I mean, he's making 3 tanks and 4 Ravens at a time, as well as a couple of Hellions, mind you, just for a little bit of extra production. INnoVation trying to run by with some Hellions, get at the economy, but he's going to barely find any damage at all. Maybe 1 Hellion picked up there. And look at the supplies now. Flash up 50. This planetary at the 4th base is burning. Flash quickly moving into position now to take that down, and it looks like INnoVation wants to give it up.
He's moving in totally opposite direction to defend it, that's for sure. Even with Hellbats here, he should be able to burst this down with enough damage. INnoVation now coming back to defend, but too slow, too late. A lot of scans going up. Flash is like, you don't have anything. I think it's GG scans.
GG scans. Sees both of those bases, and he's like, oh, I am that far behind. Wow.
I'm gonna say something, but I don't think anyone's gonna disagree. What we have seen from Flash in the last month has literally been the best play he has ever shown in his StarCraft II career. He's saying he's doing well in his interviews. He's saying, I think I am the best I've ever been. I still have a lot to learn, but I am feeling really good right now. He says his best matchup, he said recently in Pro League, was the TvT matchup. He's in a group full of Terrans. Stork may have accidentally helped him out in that regard. And he just crushed INnoVation with greed. He broke the INnoVation program, and that's the best way to beat INnoVation, is to just kind of do something that he doesn't expect. And INnoVation's like, wait, you have a 4th base? I don't even have a 3rd yet? Can I attack you? What do I do?
He outplayed INnoVation on that map. Straight up, TvT mirror match, mech versus mech. Flash is getting to a whole nother level, and I am getting really excited for this, Wolf.
Yeah, old Brood War fans for sure. A lot of them are Flash fans, but I'd say he has even more StarCraft II fans because people heard the whispers and the legends of this great player. And it kind of built this story, built this legend. He was never able to live up to the hype yet in StarCraft II. Like, let's be totally honest, he hasn't even had a top 8 in GSL yet. Yeah. But he's on his way. And this time, he fights INnoVation. Last time it was a 2-0 for INnoVation, but it was a close 2-0. And now, he might actually just take INnoVation out 2-0 himself here in this first matchup.
Yeah, you said it before. He's improved so much over just the last month, just 1 month. It seems like he's really hitting his stride. And consider how far he's come even from the early stages of this year. You go back to Pro League where he was on something like a 6-game losing streak, and people were saying, oh, where is this guy? I mean, he's the one that kicked the soccer ball in the finals against SKT and played really well. Why is he slumping so hard here in the beginning of 2015? Well, I mean, he's back in a big way, and he is definitely no longer slumping.
I have to agree. I think this is the best form he's ever been in his entire StarCraft II career. He's looking on point, and he is making INnoVation look like a lesser player in Game 1. Going into Koda now, our second 2-player map, very similar map in style and shape and size. Even similar sort of formations in the middle of the map where we're going to see those siege ups, the sensor towers, that kind of pressure positioning.
A bit harder to control your 4th base, I would say, specifically. Also, you could be a bit more spread with your tanks, with your mech here on this map. I still don't think either player is going to go for bio. I think that would be very surprising here. They're just both so good at this style, I wouldn't want to see either of them deviate from it.
Completely agree with you, man. All right, let's see if INnoVation can tie this up.
This is a big map here going into Koda for game number 2 of Flash versus INnoVation. Let's do it right now.
HOT6 GSL 시즌 3.
Down here in the bottom right, in the red, our Terran player winning that last game is
KT Star Flash.
Flashy. This is him in the flesh.
Yes. His opponent and GSL rival
SK Telecom T1 INnoVation.
was really struggling to punish Flash's greed in Game 1, and I have to argue that INnoVation's control overall was better than Flash's, but he just didn't have the bank to end up winning out that game. Flash had 12 gases. 12 gases, like, it was like a Zerg's dream. Like, I wish I could have that many gas. It's like, I wish I could just have all these bases and have mules and be able to make, like you said it best, he's making 4 Ravens and 3 siege tanks right now, and he still has 200 gas left. Like, what he had, like, I think he had like 1,800 gas per minute income. I checked it when you were talking about that. It's like, it was insane.
Our friend found the Kerrigan to his Jim Raynor. They get married in 2 days.
Oh, 2 days. Wow, that's really soon.
Awesome.
They must be getting married in Korea. A great choice.
That's even better.
The mecca of esports.
Well, when you find your Jim Raynor, I guess that's what you got to do, Wolf.
Well, I hope it's a happy ending in Legacy of the Void. Just saying.
Yeah.
Well,
it was kind of interesting. I'm glad you mentioned kind of that robot effect of INnoVation as well, because you really got to see it once he saw the 4th base coming down, because the 3rd base he didn't even really see when it was coming down. Also, when he scanned the main, he didn't seem to even know. He never went over there to really harass with his Banshee. He just kind of flew it back. He's like, oh, it seems like he's got a 3rd base, so let me take mine really slowly. I don't think he really realized how far behind he was on that. And then when the 4th base came down, he's like, oh, he's getting a 4th base. Now I got to do my calculations. Should I take my 4th base now? I'm not so sure. And he kind of let Flash take that and then get a perfect position, which denied his own 4th base. INnoVation kind of just let Flash run all over him.
Yeah, even the offensive sensor tower, for example. I really have to echo your point and be really critical of specifically when he had like 5 Vikings and a Raven, and he had 6 Hellions nearby, and he saw a building 4th base, and he killed the SCV, and then he just flew away. I'm like, no, you have to land those Vikings, kill that, and fly away. What's the worst that's going to happen? He somehow, with 4 bases of greed, has more Vikings than you or something, and then it catches you. I mean, it was just like he didn't know what to do. He just didn't react quickly. He could have canceled that base easily, but he didn't, and there's really no excuse for that. And I feel like I don't want to be too critical, but when you look at that situation, the answer was very obvious. He just, I think, was so surprised and flustered. He was like, maybe I should try to do more damage at the natural instead, and he made that choice, which didn't end up working out for him.
That's really the way it seemed. Like, INnoVation kind of just getting off of his game. I mean, this is the first game of the day for him, so maybe he's not 100% ready just yet. We'll see how he does in this game here. Let's take a look at the build so far. We are actually going to have Widowmines early coming out of INnoVation.
It might be fake Banshees with a drop here. But it's going to be a Raven instead. You can always still do a Fallout drop, use the Widowmine for detection, or rather a defense at first, but it's going to be Ravens for both. Both players, we talked about this in Game 1, saying in interviews and also just showing in their playstyle, they really do prefer Raven first. Banshee harass is kind of a follow-up extra idea. Look at this, Marines move away, SCV comes in, you can't explain it.
Marines go out, Marines come in, our SCV comes in.
Can't
It's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And he sees everything. Sees, I think, no, the cloak just started here. So maybe he saw no cloak and now Flash has started it. Bit of a mind game going on here. Probably gonna follow up with some Banshees here.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be real.
Yeah.
There's the Banshee, as you predicted. Slightly faster, actually significantly faster CC for Flash, but it is on the high ground, so this is going to end up being about even, all things considered. So there is now being on that barracks. Was that a reactor? I believe it was, right? Yeah, so reactor, which means we could see a second factory in reactor Blue Flame Hellions as a follow-up to this, but more than likely it's just going to be one reactor factory, and he might even take a faster 3rd CC knowing Flash's style. Let's see how he does this. One of the cool things about what Flash did with that greedy CC is not only was it greedy, but it was sneaky, because INnoVation scanned, he didn't see it, and he was like, oh, maybe you don't have one at all, which in fact he did. It was even greedier than he could have even predicted or fathomed.
Yeah, down there at the low ground, kind of escapes the scouting. Would have loved to just see INnoVation also maybe just send an SCV over. I mean, it can be a struggle it's something you struggle with as well. You don't want to lose those SCVs, really. It's an expensive scout, but I think it would have been worth it.
It looks like it is going to be a tank coming out for INnoVation here on this second factory. Here comes Cloak, Banshee #1 for Flash, not a single turret. Flash is playing a best of 3 like he would play, you know, a Brood War best of 3, just changing up his style at every different game. We're seeing harassment counterwise being done to him at the same time. He's a micro against these Marines, and he is. And we'll shut down the Banshee eventually, although it's going to get a few more kills here at the natural.
Yeah, no cloak committed to here by INnoVation, so he's actually kind of saving, especially because both of these players do have a Raven. So, cloak kind of obsolete in this case.
Moot point, yeah. Killing some Marines, in my opinion, right now, this is a somewhat. I'll hold that thought. We'll talk about this after this harassment. See how much he gets done with this. Again, the cloak kind of useless here versus this detector.
Even going to drop an auto turret. Just trying to cut down on the amount of damage that can really do. At the same time, a turret is here, as well as 2 Vikings. And that Banshee is about to run out of energy.
What I was going to mention briefly before is in other matchups versus Terran, if you kill a lot of Marines with your harassing unit, like say your DT can't really kill a lot of SCVs because there's a turret, but if you kill a bunch of Marines, then it's like, well, that shuts down his pressure, that makes him just a bunch weaker in general. Oh man, he's just going to let this Banshee fly by. That's kind of weird.
Lazy Marine.
Oops. But in this matchup, because both players are going to be meching, killing a few Marines somewhat weakens your Banshee defense, but you've got Vikings and a Raven, and the Banshee's going to be pushed away, and you've got turrets, and that's like, doesn't matter. Whoa, INnoVation dropping the ball in the middle of the map here.
Raven's got to go ahead. Just scout for those Widow Mines. He's actually going to drop down the Vikings.
Oh, almost got away.
Spanks him on the back as he's trying to get away. So, both these players are going towards that later game. Although Flash does have that 3rd orbital up and running already. It's not down and landed at the 3rd base, but INnoVation getting his much later here.
Well, he's 5 harvesters up though, and he's got triple mules, so the economy is starting to show. And INnoVation, what's the play, man? What is he going to do? He's got late orbital. He's got equal siege tank count. He just is going to be hard-pressed, actually. Oh, ooh, God, these Widow Mines today.
Yeah, big damage there on the Vikings.
He brought SCVs with him, though, so this is not atrocious. But what I was going to say is INnoVation is going to be hard-pressed to actually hold his 3rd base, because Flash has such a great unit comp to deny it at this point in time.
Yeah, INnoVation slinking around, wants to go for a bit of an air fight here, but comparable army in the air for Flash as well.
It's kind of funny, I was talking about those Marines, because these Marines of Flash will actually come into play in this kind of fight, even though they all have like 1 health left because of the Widow Mine. Now moving that orbital, looks like he's going to take the 3rd base that's further away from Flash. What do you think about this? I actually kind of like the 3rd base that Flash takes instead, because it's more towards that central point, towards that watchtower where you can kind of push and control while also defending your base.
You really only have to control one area. I mean, really, the only thing that mech can do in terms of harassment is, you know, maybe Hellbat drops along the right side of the map or try to run them in towards the natural. But if you've got a wall up there with the supply depots, you're going to be totally fine. I do agree with you. I like that position from Flash actually a bit better.
I think it's because he knows Flash has such a good unit comp to deny. We're going to have a big fight here, by the way. Better PDDs, much faster for Flash, and he's got a few Marines here. Looks like they are going to get roasted.
Yeah, INnoVation actually going to win this fight. There is one Cloaked Banshee there on the right side that INnoVation has not identified just yet.
Yeah, in fact, he needs a scan on it. Maybe he doesn't have one. His Raven went down. He's actually needs to at least unsiege his tanks.
Where's the scan?
Oh, man. INnoVation, wake up.
There it is. Looks like may have taken a while to get that online. Maybe dropping a bunch of mules at that 3rd base. But
what I was going to say about that position, because we were talking about this, and I think it's important to note that I think INnoVation realized that because Flash had this kind of unit comp, taking this base would have been much more difficult to defend, and he took a good defensive position here. And he would have actually taken an insanely good trade had he not lost all those siege tanks to the Banshee, and it ends up being about even as a result. Worker count's currently 69 to 62 in Flash's favor. Currently still has that slight worker lead. And a 7-3 siege tank lead with that engage.
We do see after that engagement, Flash taking a 4th base pretty early on here. Going to start that right now, where it's not really on the cards just yet for INnoVation, but INnoVation is going to try to spot this, and he will with a bunch of Blue Flame Hellions.
And again, he's not able to deny it. This time, I don't think he could have even tried. There's too many Hellions coming.
Oh, but look at this, a big move out by Flash, kind of out of position, and all these SCVs are all alone.
Oh, yes, they are. Blue Flame is online. He's going to have to try to defend this with auto turrets and landed Vikings. A few more Hellions now join the mix.
A
8
bunch
kills
of
here.
SCVs lining up now, trying to get the big hits. 11 of them do go down. That was a lot of Hellions that he did trade for that, but that third base kind of gets reduced in mining capacity, whereas INnoVation is going to take the worker lead now.
Yeah, and so when that fourth base for Flash is going to be really important. But this is, like you said, the first time in this game INnoVation takes a worker lead. So Flash's fourth base is now a great asset to him. He's turret pushing through the middle of the map. I mean, he's playing this so well. It starts to look more and more like Brood War Flash here in the flesh. Turret pushing with siege tanks. Next thing you know, I swear I'm going to see some vultures on the map. Oh, this Hellion's not getting around.
Does get a good scout, though. There's not much for those Hellions to threaten over there, especially because INnoVation did take the base towards the top of the map.
Yeah, I think he's actually waiting to intercept a Hellion run by to his fourth. He's in between those line of sight blockers, so he's just like, I dare you to run into this. Flash doesn't know about that base to the top right. But it's not one of those. It's not like an SOS base where he gets away with it and he gets ahead. He's like, with this base, at best, going to even the bases. Flash is also already starting to add those extra orbitals, just like last game.
INnoVation thinking about making a move here. He is going for a bunch of scans and noticing that Flash, once again, is very spread out. We'll see if he does want to go for any kind of concentrated push, maybe towards the right side of that third. Or maybe just over here, control the top of the ramp and maybe just secure a fifth base. Because as you said, that fourth base in the top right is going to be relatively secure unless Hellions can get up there. And it looks like Flash is actually going to win this war, so INnoVation does have to be careful about defending the fourth now.
Yeah, INnoVation is repositioning all of his tanks. All of this is out of vision of Flash's sensor tower, so he can't punish. He's going to try to go and poke and seed. And now he sees, you know, okay, a lot of Hellions moved out at least, and look at this. It's actually going to go for a run by going all the way into the main base. And look at this. INnoVation is going to take this fight, but Flash has tanks sieged up and a bunch of Vikings here.
Lots of tanks sieged up, but I think INnoVation was successfully able to get on top of them, and even the Thor helping out in the air here, going to win the ground fight and the air fight here is INnoVation.
Yep, definitely. So a lot of these tanks for Flash were in the middle of the map, so again, he finds the cracks in the armor here. And a lot of Vikings flying into turrets, so he's going to be careful about that. The Hellions only got 2 kills too, so not very worth it. So a lot of that missing supplies and those Hellions that went down without much damage. And INnoVation is looking to try to surround and crush the remainder of these siege tanks now.
I think he should be able to. He's got some turrets over here, Flash, but not enough tanks together at all. And you can see the Vikings now chasing down the Vikings of Flash. They're forced to land. He's losing on the ground and in the air after that one very successful fight from INnoVation. Oh, even the landing the Vikings now on top of the tanks to break this line for sure. Way too many Hellbats here to tank for these tanks, even in siege mode, or rather in tank mode. GG, INnoVation will tie it up. We're going to game 3.
That we are on Cactus Valley, a big 4-player map.
Once again, in these TvTs, it really just comes down to what is the position like when the fight begins. Flash kind of getting caught out there, maybe did not expect INnoVation's army to be exactly where it was. He tried to siege up, but INnoVation just had more stuff over there. Big commitment to Hellions, as you said, trying to go for that harass from Flash. Didn't work out, and he lost the fight. From there, it was just, he had lost too much stuff.
Yeah. One thing I want to talk about with these two players, Mac, is they are so air control dependent. They're all Vikings all the time. In that second game, we saw no medevacs. When we see Gumiho play a little bit later, I think we're going to see a totally different mech style. He's going to be dropping Hellbats all the time, harassing all the time. But these two are like, I have no room for having one less Viking to make a medevac. I'm just not even going to do it. All air control all the time. Ravens, Vikings, that's it. No drops, too risky. You probably got turret ring anyways. You got Sentry Tower. Not even going to attempt it. Just going to try to win the positional battle. Like, these guys are playing checkers and chess right now. They are not playing a fast-paced harassment game.
It seems like Flash does a bit better when the map is smaller and he can concentrate on one specific area of the map to take control of and be greedy behind it, whereas INnoVation does better on the big spread out game, taking his bases a little bit later, not as greedy, but very good at positioning his tanks and attacking the weak spots of Flash's army and position.
Cactus Valley, a huge map, 4-player. I'm hoping for cross spawns on this one. I want the late game.
That's what I want to see too. I think this map also is going to favor INnoVation, as I just said. Big spread out map. Let's see how it's going to go down. Jumping into game number 3 right now on Cactus Valley.
HOT6 GSL 시즌 3.
Up here in the top left, in the red, the Terran player.
KT Star Flash.
The most famous contemporary RTS player in Korea now has to face off against INnoVation to the bottom left in blue.
SK Telecom T1 INnoVation.
So, no cross spawns here. Going to be just vertical spawns. And it's going to be kind of interesting when you think about how these bases are going to be taken. Flash going to be a bit more spread out across the top side of that map, whereas INnoVation is going to have to expand towards Flash.
Definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah. Looks like we are, I was going to say maybe going to see CC first.
Hey again, guys.
Hello.
Thanks for coming down. You're awesome.
You guys are awesome. You guys are great.
You understand what's really important in life.
Yeah.
It's actually StarCraft II.
You know, Friday night, come catch some StarCraft, go party in Gangnam.
INnoVation.
INnoVation.
Simple but to the point.
Perkele?
Perkle?
Perkle? I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I butchered
Perkele?
that. Like Perkle back and home was like, it's Perkele! I'm like, oh, sorry. He's like, it's Perkele! I'm like, ah, oh, damn, I didn't. Sorry. You gotta put the accent marks up there for me, bro. Sorry, I ruined your night. It's like the biggest Wolf fan. I'm like, ah, I think I lost a fan.
You broke his heart, man.
Well, this is a very lucky scout. You know how I feel about 4-player maps, but I'm not going to get into it.
A lot of pro players feel the same way. There was someone actually on Wednesday when I was casting with Moonblade who just banned out Iron Fortress and Cactus Valley like multiple times. He's like, oh no, I don't want to play 4-player maps. It's not going to happen.
That'd be me, man.
I think it may have been Zest. No, he banned out Terraform a lot. I'm not exactly sure, but
I was going to say Zest loves
happened, I swear.
Zest loves the proxy. He like loves these maps. He's like, you'll never find my Stargate.
Yeah, that's kind of what that matchup has come down to. Like PvT and PvZ. Well, more so PvT. It's like, where can I hide my Stargate this time? It's Cactus Valley. It could be anywhere.
I'm a bit surprised we don't see Flash go CC a little bit faster, a little bit greedier. I mean, I guess this is mech. I mean, excuse me, TvT. It will be mech as well, but we're not there yet. Where, you know, if a Reaper gets in your base earlier, you know, just lose too much tempo. If you try to go for like a CC first, that's kind of out of the question, because if they go for fast Banshees, you want your Viking all the time, you can just die. But I figured Flash might try to do something a little bit greedier, but it's actually going into not only 1, but 2 Reapers. And look at this, 4-player maps. You know, your opponent scouts you lucky, but you still have no idea where he is, and you have to make 2 Reapers and check both sides, and you have no idea what he's doing, but he took a risk and got lucky. 1 in 3 chance.
Whereas Flash is going to struggle to get into the main. INnoVation, I think he's got 4 Marines out here if he can kind of split them up against this. Well, as I say that, a Hellion coming across as well. Maybe Flash just wants to break the ramp here, knowing that there may not be many units for INnoVation if he is going for heavy tech builds. Yeah, you know, this could work with good control, but you know what? No, not with 5 Marines here. Yeah. He is going to be able to break the ramp to get inside, though, and he will see that tech lab. Definitely going to be a Raven. 100%. There it is. INnoVation, he's kind of shown that card a bunch of times. It's quite obvious at this point. Notice that INnoVation is massing Marines, and by mass I mean 7. That's like a crazy number of Marines in this matchup. It's a mass, and he actually might go for a big push sort of attack with a tank once that add-on gets swapped on his factory. Double checking here to see if Cloak's being researched, sees it's not. I think that's worth a Reaper, personally. I'm like pretty okay with that. Gotta be careful with that Widow Mine. It will blow up that Hellion easy peasy, and perhaps the Reaper as well, depending on which it targets. Looking to get into position for a possible Banshee that'll come his way, because he hasn't scouted Flash after that SCV. He's kind of just sitting in his base, so he doesn't know what the follow-up is, really. It's going to be a very greedy early third base, kind of what Flash did on Echo.
Yeah, INnoVation is taking right now a much later second CC. And Flash already has his second orbital mining with a third CC.
This is kind of how Flash wins in TvP as well. He's like, I'm just going to make these CCs super early. They'll never expect it. They can't get across the map early enough to scout it. I'm just going to do it. And if I get away with it, I'm going to win the game.
Look at his control by Flash as well. Almost saves the Reaper. But look at his control on the Hellions to pick off Marines while he runs away from his main so that he can delay this attack even further.
To escort the Widowmine home, essentially, at this point. That slow Widowmine is going to get the last shot here, unfortunately. Not enough stuff there for Flash. One Korean caster going like, ah! It was kind of cool.
It was JYP, I think. Like, my Korean personality would have totally done that. I have like
probably.
I have like somewhat of two personalities, like in two different languages. Like if I were speaking Korean right now, I totally would have done the same.
You would make a good Korean caster, Wolf, I think.
I think so. Maybe in like 10 years when like I can actually speak broadcast Korean fluently enough. So that's hard.
Maybe someday.
Oh my God, is he gonna find this? He is.
Flying by in the night, but he is on the chase.
He's gonna scout the third base though. See, this time he's already sort of changed things up. He's not going to let Flash get away with this sort of greed. Well, actually, he at least checks for it, because, I mean, now what's he going to do about it? It's going to be tough to find damage at this point.
Oh, the stutter fly micro here from Flash is going to secure him this Banshee kill. Nowhere she can really go.
Well, Flash is massing up the tanks. INnoVation is going for air control again. Massing up Vikings, but with no tanks on the ground. I say no tanks, but with like, if he does this, he's going to have less tanks on the ground. So if Flash has more tanks and he has enough scans with 3 orbitals, he can still repel an attack without air control, especially because he's going to have this Raven, which is going to help out. And potentially, as soon as he realizes what sort of build that INnoVation is going for this composition, he can make a Thor, which is going to help him quite significantly as well. Well.
Yeah, I love the fact that INnoVation is moving out here looking for the air units.
Yeah, he wants
kind
to
of
camp.
just poking. You know, he's like, what do you have exactly in the air?
Yeah, anything he finds is going to kill it. In fact, he might even kill this barracks if it doesn't land. He could actually deny with an auto turret he tried. That would have been really cute.
Maybe he'll land like one Viking. Oh, he's going to land them all.
And auto turret support here. This is a really heavy amount of pressure here. Counter auto turrets coming in though.
But at the same time, he gets back up and he kills the Raven. So that is a pretty nice, you know, grab there. Going to use some of the energy there, allow his Raven to just regen a bit back at home, and
he significantly
doesn't lose much.
He significantly damaged a lot of those tanks as well with the auto turrets, and I think that was well worth it. But was it good enough? Flash is now sitting at 60 to 48. He's 12 harvesters up. And he's got triple mules for so long, he's taking a 4th base. Now, INnoVation he's going to kill it this time, right? Like, all fingers crossed, the Hellions are going to see it, and he will actually kill it and not just drive by. Oh, no.
He's not even going to check, which kind of surprises me. I think he should have caught on already kind of to the timings and the motions that Flash is making in this series. At least go over there and check, you know? But
look what Flash is checking.
Yeah.
Flash leave nothing up to chance when it comes to information about these bases. He's like, oh, now I have to add a 5th base to get ahead. He is,
Let me make 4 more command centers in my main first.
He's going to do that pretty soon. That's actually about to happen. You know, this is not a joke. This is real life. Look how ahead he is in +1 as well, and we're going to see Hellbat drops for the first time really in this series, potentially finding successful damage. It's not literally the first time, but if it doesn't get scouted, it could do some serious damage. Okay, now, INnoVation is moving across to try to get a good angle from behind the 3rd base, and what he might find is a free 4th base. And he might be able to do damage to both. Here's those extra orbitals in the main you were talking about.
There they go. He's got to get these tanks into position, and he definitely can. This 4th base is kind of hard. I'm surprised that Flash goes for this one, in fact. I think he should have gone for the one below his main. Yeah, here we go. He's got air control, and he's going to siege up those tanks first.
Flash taking so much damage on these tanks. It's a great opportunity for INnoVation. Even chasing them down with Hellbats, doing that extra splash damage.
Lining up the tanks. Lining up the tanks for the Hellbat, or the Hellions, rather.
Yeah.
something you don't really see too often.
And he saw with those Maynarding SCVs, he's like, oh, you have a 4th base? I'd love to do damage there as well. This is the kind of push, this is the kind of damage we should have seen on Koda, but we did not, and now we are seeing it. Let's see if Flash can get some damage done with this Hellbat drop, this double Hellbat drop. This is a planetary, but even still, the siege tanks are finding damage. Oh, no target.
Those Hellbats got to be on the SCVs. This one of the main will get there. And some units coming over to the 3rd now. Flash really going to draw some of those reinforcements back. Doing a bit of damage here. Going to force a big pull. Look at this.
Oh, a huge pull right into more Hellbats.
Oh, he's going to try to drop them again.
Oh, man, this could be huge. Well, it already is huge, but it could be huger. Look at this. It goes again. Oh, that was not the best drop there, but you could get it. Oh!
There it is.
Why would you mineral walk that? That is not their answer. 29. SCV kills INnoVation, feels threatened. He's actually going to move command in here, but look at this. Tanks are sieged up. A good split against the Seeker missiles as well.
Yeah, the 2 tanks on the high ground doing immense damage here.
But it's not enough.
Kind of a desperate all-in move there, as you were saying. Maybe he can get some of these tanks as they are sieging. He will be able to, and maybe take an even fight here. A lot of these tanks very, very low.
70 Harvesters to 47 because we are on 3 base to 3 base. The 70 number isn't really that significant. But Flash needs to reinforce and hold on to these bases. He's taking the bases closer to his main now this time.
And look at this, 8 tanks to 4, Hellbats, Vikings, Medivacs to support this army of INnoVation. He's very far behind on the economy side of things, but if he can get, you know, just a devastating blow possibly on one of these bases, or at least get a decent position and follow it up, he definitely could be in a good place in this game.
Time is of the essence. Flash's 4th base is now available to use, and that means that 70 SCV count is useful. It does matter. You can saturate 4 bases.
Flash gonna have to use some scans here, whereas just a couple of Vikings in the air getting all of the vision that INnoVation needs.
Looks like he's actually just going to drop on top of these tanks. There are some Hellbats to answer for this. Flash takes out that 1 tank, though, and deals with the Hellbats.
A lot of those tanks getting pretty low. He needs to get the repair. INnoVation needs to get these tanks also in a good position to possibly get on the high ground and seize the tanks to Flash.
INnoVation landed his 4th base, but he's not mining. He's not mining at all. So he needs to get that up and running, because otherwise Flash just evacuates his SCV to the 4th, and he's like, you can siege this base all you want, and I'm just going to get my tanks out. I'm going to catch up. The biggest problem is what you just mentioned, the air control. There's more Vikings being produced for INnoVation currently. He's now trying to take this engagement.
Yeah, lots of Hellbats in the front to tank, and unfortunately INnoVation just spread too thin here. I think he should have joined up with the rest of his forces and, oh, wow, free base here, no lift. I don't think that should have happened, unless it was a planetary I didn't notice, but usually not going to be for a 3rd base.
It was definitely an orbital. He just simply was multitasking elsewhere. He moves now one of his extra orbitals, which we haven't really even been talking about. We talked about it's like, oh, it's 3 base versus 3 base, or now he's 4th base off and this and that. But he has all these extra mules he's been dropping this entire time, and he just has the ability to replace his base instantly with that. Now he can reposition his units. This is a planetary, so Hellbats engaging this not going to be as effective, and Flash is set up with his own Hellbats to drop on top of these tanks to break this line. He might even attack in tank mode. Let's see how he does this. Here's the boost.
Not enough Vikings in the air here for INnoVation, and all the Hellbats getting straight on top of these tanks. They should be wiped out instantly.
INnoVation constantly ahead in army supply, but just not able to take these fights. Flash is just overwhelming him with, I don't even want to say with his tech, just with how he's engaging with these units. And now it is 4 base to 4 base. INnoVation does take a supply lead in SCVs, 15 in fact, or excuse me, 11 in fact ahead at this moment in time.
Kind of funny, INnoVation was down to around 43 or something, but he's come back. He's remade something like 35 SCVs.
It was almost unrecoverable damage that Flash took. It's actually incredible that he's still alive.
Looking for the siege here on the planetary. The SCVs are going to be pulled. Big hits there on the Hellbats of Flash. Some of them are going to be dropped in, but the Vikings doing a decent job here.
Those 2 tanks on the high ground coming in for reinforcing, but very, very late. This SCV pull very desperate from Flash now. He's really going to struggle to go up this ramp with Vikings up there as well. I think this might actually just be game over. There's the GG scans. He doesn't have any bases, but it doesn't matter. GG indeed. INnoVation will win the rematch between these two.
in INnoVation style. He's taken him out once in a 2-0. This time it is a 2-1. Flash having a bit of a better showing, especially in that first game. We were hyping him so much. He looked so dominant there. But I think INnoVation just on those bigger spread out maps, he just works so much better.
Really great engages, good patience as well, and dealt with Flash's greed this time. He did not ignore it. He didn't look confused. He knew exactly what to do. He pressured it. He hit it hard and countered with his own fourth base. Took him a little while to get it saturated, get everything running, but his engagements, his move-outs were smart, and they were punishing. And Flash just could not ever catch up with his army, even though his supply was ahead in SCVs for so long. He was up like 30 harvesters. Finally got that fourth base. His base that he took, like you said, was the further one away from his natural. So whenever he wanted to reinforce with his better economy, he's like making way more tanks than INnoVation is, but it's taking them way too long to get to where they're relevant in the fight. They're getting cut off as well.
Yep. Well, INnoVation with that win will move on to the winner's match here. He will face off against Gumiho, another TvT coming your guys' way. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
안녕하세요, 에이프릴입니다. 네, 저희가 드디어 데뷔곡 꿈사탕으로 여러분을 만나게 되었어요.
저희 데뷔곡 꿈사탕은 동화적인 느낌의 사운드와 화려한 백그라운드 보컬이 절묘하게 조화를 이룬 업템포 하우스 댄스 곡입니다.
꿈을 찾아 세계여행을 하는 순수한 소녀들의 소망을 담은 귀여운 가사가 포인트니깐요. 여러분 귀 기울여 잘 들어주세요. 네, 앞으로 좋은 음악과 사랑스러운 퍼포먼스 많이 보여드릴 테니깐요. 저희 에이프릴 많이 사랑해주세요.
그럼 지금까지 에이프릴이었습니다. 감사합니다.